WS Media and Events Limited presents the Wolverhampton Revival Cup Clash 2025. 6 DJs, 5 rounds, £1,000 cash prize. Winner takes all. Your competitors: Exodus Movements from Wolverhampton. From Birmingham, Mikey EY, Bloodline Music, Country Bigs and Pool Blood. From Manchester, Hustler Ghetto Heart and Mr. Swing Easy from London. The date: Saturday the 24th of May 2025 at the Molyneux Stadium, Waterloo Road, Wolverhampton, WV1 4QR. The competition rounds and rules are as follows: 10-minute non-elimination, 1 for 1, anything goes, best of 10 and first to 6. There'll be no music after the year 1989 and no dub plates, no playbacks and no cursing. Clash starts at 10:30 p.m. sharp. Hosted by the Big Bad Captain and Country Judah. Sound system supplied by Bullet Movements. Advance ticket price at £20. Available online. Tickets are available from all the contenders on the bill. Hatman in Birmingham, Country Judah, or the general number 07398 262 753 for the Wolverhampton Revival Cup Clash 2025.
What's good, everybody? You know what it is. TV Sound System, Selector Hype. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You know what to do. It's getting sticky now. It's getting closer and closer to what is going to be one of the big ones. The 2025 Wolverhampton Revival Cup Clash. 6 DJs, 5 rounds, £1,000 to winner takes all. And it's all taking place down there at the Molyneux Football Stadium. Like I said, we're bringing the Premier League to sound system culture. Or we're bringing sound system culture to the Premier League. We're bringing reggae music to the Premier League. Now, we've had so many people interested in the DJs, and I had to have all the DJs, I'll be talking to all of them. But there's one particular one who came out with the video first. When that video came out, it created a stir. My phone was buzzing. Some people never seen him before. Oh my God! It's a white man? Yeah. Oh my God, that's the guy who was at the Gladiators Clash. How did you manage to get him? I was like, yeah, he's going to be live and direct, and he is here. Hey, and you know when it's big? When you get somebody coming to my house. People don't even knock my door, much as sit down in my living room. So it's an honor and a pleasure to have no other than the man himself, Mr. Swing Easy, inside the building. How you doing?
I've had worse introductions. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for taking the time out to come down here, because I know that you're going to be dropping some music down there at the Vinyl Thursdays, which you've been doing for a good amount of time now. Yeah. But I want to go back to the beginning, like the early parts of Mr. Swing Easy. The early part. For me, when you contacted me and said you want to be in the competition, I'm not going to lie, I was like, oh, let me just check. Because I didn't realize that you was in the Gladiators final, etc. When I did my background and I seen what you was doing, and I just saw your preparation, what you was doing for the Vinyl Gladiators competition, I thought, yeah, the preparation this man's doing is certified. So let's go all the way back in the beginning. Where did your love for music start from?
Oh, well, from childhood. Mm-hmm. I have 2 sisters, both older, and my eldest sister, this was sort of late 60s, early 70s, just got into Motown and Trojan. She was going out where we lived at the time and bringing the records home. Mm-hmm. So I grew up listening to those Motown Chartbuster LPs, Tighten Up LPs. Mm-hmm. Also, there was quite a lot of stuff in the charts. It wasn't, every week could turn on Top of the Pops in the early 70s. Mm-hmm. And you'd see, Desmond Decker, David Ansel Collins, Jimmy Cliff. So it was just kind of part of growing up, but my sister had this particular interest. She then moved to Ladbroke Grove in the mid-70s, and then it was much more sort of Bob Marley, Burning Spear, Al Green, Hamilton Bohannon, these Philadelphia, these artists. So I had those, and then kind of had my own interests in music. And then when I got to, I went to college in Southampton, which is kind of an out-of-the-way place. But it had a West Indian club, which was brilliant every week. And then I met a friend who wasn't at the university, and he just took me well beyond that into sort of blues dances and shebeens and sound system events. So that would have been early 80s. Okay. And there was no turning back from that point.
Mm-hmm. So can you remember like when you said there was no turning back, when you say no turning back, was that the point where he says, not only are you a fan of the music, but you wanted to become a DJ. Where did the DJing part of things come into that?
Somewhat later, actually. When I said there was no turning back, that meant that I was kind of in 2 feet with black music. That was that, and all sorts, funk, soul, reggae, all sorts. That was really the turn. That was what I meant by the turning point.
Yeah.
But I had once I'd left college, I had quite a serious job that brought me to the West Midlands.
Okay.
So I started my proper working life in Coventry, and lived in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And finally had a bit of cash to buy records. So then I was going to Don Christie's every week. And then when he closed, I went Summits every week, and then twice a week, and then 3 times a week, and then 4 times a week. And then in this early 90s, I built a little music room, which had like the 2 decks and a mixer and stuff. But, and kind of was churning out tapes for people. That was my thing.
Yeah.
But I couldn't speak. I couldn't speak into a microphone. I was very sort of self-conscious about it all. And I've got to big up my friend GB from Uprising Crew, Birmingham, Greybeard, good friend of mine through work. And he was really into sort of radio, and we had a little sound system operation, and they kind of took me under their wing and into their crew. And very slowly, I just got the confidence to speak.
Yeah.
Choosing the records was the easy bit, but speaking was very hard. And then I moved back down to London, got into radio, which I'd always wanted to do, and then sort of took it from there, really. But I didn't take a name as such until about 30 years ago.
Okay.
But before then, as I said, the real thing in terms of selecting was buying properly. But these tapes, I used to churn out cassettes for people like there's no tomorrow, and that was a good selecting practice.
And during that time there, who was you looking up to in terms of sound systems or fellow radio DJs, any broadcasters, anybody that you was like thinking, I'd like to get on that level or be that same kind of vibes?
Yeah, I think your viewers might know where this might be heading, but I'm not going to go in that direction immediately. The very first radio voice not because I was always listening to radio, but the one that made a huge impact on me was Rankin Miss P, when she had that show on Radio 1 in the sort of mid-80s. She followed on from Robbie Vincent. Really sophisticated taste in music, and I learned a huge amount about the music from her. In terms of wanting to do radio, I would have to say that Rodigan was a light, because clearly, someone from the same sort of background, and his radio programs, the Capital shows, were incredible. The way they were put together, that collage of sound, with sound effects, and with dubs and speaking over, just that sort of wall of sound that he created. But they were incredible. So I'd be lying if I said that wasn't an inspiration. So those 2. But I really wanted to do pirate, and I started doing that about 25 years ago.
What was the pirate station that you was on?
Oh, the first one. Glad you've asked me that question, Hype. The first one was called Star UK, out of Battersea, and it was the original pirate. It was just really, really basic equipment in a little unit somewhere. The aerial on the tower block opposite. Yeah. And the people there are incredible. So Fridge, Ricky Stepper, a long time. That was absolutely, talk about living the dream. That was living the dream for me. It was wicked.
And back then with Pirate Station, was there any? Because when I was doing pirate, it was always for me like there was that kind of element of, we might just get caught here. How did you feel about it when you're bringing your prized possessions into a studio, knowing that in any moment these could all get taken away?
Yeah, GB said don't do that. So the first couple of shows I did, I made mini discs. Remember the old mini disc format? So I pre-recorded mini discs and put them in the playing machine. Was a Walkman, that was just falling. You look at it and it would fall apart. So in the end, that was a lot of effort to do that. In the end, I took records, but no, it was very real because the station got hit. All the equipment went at least once, if not twice. I was lucky I wasn't there at the time, but others really did get clobbered. But that was all the thrill of it, really. It was all the thrill of it.
And then
other people were taking the risks, really.
There were so many risks then. People, like I says, Mr. Swing Easy, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We're going to get into the Revival Cup Clash Look, Elaine, we got time. I want to talk about the artists them who you like really grew up on, and who are you listening to right now? Because I know this is like normally the question that people always ask at the end of the interview, like who's your favorite and so forth. But I mean, like right now, I mean, just on a whole scope, because I don't want to be like giving you, name me your top 5 or so and so. Just who are the ones that inspire you, the music that you love listening to from way back then, even to the present moment?
All right. Well, for me, Studio One is at the top of it's the basis of the whole pyramid.
Yeah.
You've got to know, if you want to know reggae music, you've got to know Studio One. So first and foremost, I'm a Studio One person. Big up Daddy Studio One, one of my very early mentors as well. So that's kind of the basis of everything. And then from then, what do I listen? Now my taste depends what I'm doing, but if I'm on my own, then I listen to mostly instrumentals. I love really good instrumentals. Treasure Isle, Studio One, Moody's, and any Roots, Pablo, any really well made instrumental is always going to catch my ear. So that's my kind of private listening. Also jazz a lot as well. In terms of going back now, through Ranking Miss P, the first singer that I really fell for was Slim Smith.
Okay.
And because I was like quite shy, and going into record shops was quite difficult. It might seem silly to a lot of people watching, but it was a kind of act of will for me to force myself into some of these record shops. My go-to was, have you got any Slim Smith? And that got me actually, into some kind of conversation.
Yeah.
So shop after, certainly Winston will tell you in summits, the first thing I ever said to him was, have you got any Slim Smith? And then from there, I don't know, just all the regular ones really. But my artist now, over all of them, singing artist, is Gregory Isaacs.
Okay.
For a male artist, Jennifer Lara. For a female artist, Al Green. I'm a massive Al Green fan. Ray Charles, going back a bit further, Aretha Franklin. Yeah, those kind of people.
And they're going to touch back on the whole record shop situation. When you're saying it was daunting going into the record shops to buy the music, what was the how did they embrace the situation? How once you got in there, what was it like getting in there?
Well, I'm glad you've asked me that question, because it really depended. I mean, the first couple of times I went to Pecking's in West London, I just ran out because there was just nothing to fiddle around with or do. There was no racks, or you had to start with a conversation. And at least the first one time I went in there, I just ran out because I was just too backwards. Don Christie was amazing. I used to go in there on a Saturday when it was packed. And I wasn't intimidated as such, but it wasn't, people were in there for a reason, and it wasn't to let me through to the racks or what have you. But he was brilliant. He used to say, come on, let him through type of thing, and make time and recommendations. And he was a really cool guy. And when I was sad when he left, and was very sad when I heard he passed. But Winston was really good. And from the off in there, I was going in there kind of off peak, not Saturdays as such, and he always made time for me. And he's probably my number one music mentor. So he made it just easy by his knowledge, really, and just his willingness to share knowledge. And I call him Professor Emeritus of all music. He's still going. That was the number one relationship, definitely. And others varied.
Yeah, and vinyl, you would say, is your number one format of playing music?
Well, again, I just wanted the music back in the day, and in the 90s, CDs were all arranged. And I've got hundreds of them, all mostly at top dollar, the proper pre-recorded release ones. I just wanted the music. I wasn't that bothered. And then coming from a kind of, in my teens, and LPs were the format when I was, in my teens. So I've got a lot of LPs, and I didn't really switch to buying sevens, probably until about 35 years ago, 30, maybe even less than that, 25, 30 years ago. And that's now my number one format, would be the 7-inch single. Not got too many 12s, got some. A lot of good LPs and hundreds of really good CDs, but they're now redundant. So.
There's a surge. Well, they're saying there's a surge of the vinyl coming back.
Yeah.
Are you one of those people who can say, well, it never actually left?
Yeah.
And there's people just jumping on this vinyl bandwagon kind of situation.
It's come full circle. I think what people want is authenticity. And again, I'm not going to fall into the laptop trap, because I've seen, it takes a lot of skill to if you want to rock a party, it takes a lot of skill to do that with a laptop. And we've all gone to parties that start 9, 10 o'clock, and one guy has just stood there for hours on end with a laptop, and that takes a lot of skill to mix it up. Read the skills are the same. Read the crowd, mix it up, change it up.
True.
This one drops, that one doesn't. Move on. That takes a lot of skill. So I'm not decrying anybody who works off a laptop at all. But I think what people want is authenticity. And we play a lot of our functions, Dog Plate Pearl and I's Camberwell Connection, where young kids, for want of a better word, who aren't used to seeing any technology, they're actually objects. The records themselves are sort of objects of fascination, and it looks, antiquated when you look at it. Putting a record on a deck, it's like like black and white television, when you're used to kind of USBs or CDJs even. So I think, but people like that authentic thing. And the other thing is, anybody watching this knows the pickup off a 7-inch single and the sound quality of a 7-inch single is second to none. Because on MP3s, it all gets compressed. CDJs, you don't get the depth of sound. LPs, because they're all crammed together, you don't get the depth. The number one pickup for reproduction is a 7-inch single or a well-made 12-inch single.
Now, fast forward again.
Long answer to a short question.
We're moving up to the present time right now. I mean, like even today while we're recording, later on tonight, you're going to be down there at the Onyx Bar.
Absolutely.
Vinyl Thursdays with Gemini Dunn.
Yeah.
That's going to be an absolute movie down there.
Can't wait.
How did you get introduced to Vinyl Thursdays, and how are you finding it?
Simple. Chaplin used to co-promote a parallel night in London called Vinyl Meltdown.
Yeah.
Splashdown, Meltdown. At the Flower of Kent in Lewisham, and that's how I first met him. Okay. And then he relocated back to West Mids. Knew the format would work, and I'm very proud that I was the first person from London he asked to come up. I played only the second week of Vinyl Thursdays at Onyx, and tonight will be my Clashes included, my 6th appearance, which I don't think anybody's played more than that up to this point, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, so it's going to be
through Chaplin, and the night itself is off the chain. The participation of the crowd, the atmosphere, it is electric. Play the right tune and it's just electric. Much more animated than London.
How do you differ Vinyl Thursdays to how you're going to play at the Revival Cup Clash in May?
That's a really good question. I mean, going back, I was involved, as you kindly pointed out, in the Clash of the Gladiators. And in the 2 rounds that were in the Onyx, I played kind of similar to how I would play at the Onyx, but with a bit more edge.
Yeah.
But then the final now, I prepared for another night at the Onyx. And of course, it was a completely different event.
Okay.
It was a Saturday night. It was a bigger crowd.
Yeah.
Infinitely bigger crowd. And it was much more, I found out very quickly that actually it was a standalone one-off event. It was about getting a reaction from that crowd in front of you on that night. Now, I know that's the most basic thing you can ever know as a selector. You've got to play for what's in front of you, but not if you've prepared for the wrong event, which I did.
Yeah.
So that is a lesson that I learned. So in terms of my thinking for this your event now on the 24th of May, it's a one-off event. It's about crowd reaction. It's kind of a horns and whistles type environment.
Yeah.
So you've got to touch that crowd with those tunes, but also be prepared to take it a bit deeper with the other selectors maybe. And, it's going to be that balance. But first and foremost, you've got to, from a standing start, any of the 6 of us, 6, has got to get that reaction from that crowd on the night. And that's what I learned from the Clash of the Gladiators final.
Okay. So preparation for Wolverhampton Revival Cup Clash, how's it going? Because I think you prepare extremely well when it comes to events.
Well,
I've seen you make some posts, and it's the kind of post when I was back in my days when I was clashing, I would make a similar kind of gesture to let people know I'm not playing around here. And you do that really, really well. So I'm guessing preparation is going quite good.
Hasn't started. And for this reason, that I can only focus on the next fence in front of me.
Okay.
Like a good racehorse. So I've got tonight, looking forward to that. I'm playing in Kilburn on Tuesday for Mikey Coos with One Love, which I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay.
We've then got our regular first Friday in the month, 1st of May. Then I'll get to my boxes and go through my tunes. But I am obviously already thinking about it. I'm thinking about it a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm going along, and it occurs to me that, well, that would play well, or that would play well. I'm thinking about the year criteria. Obviously, it just says revival, so that could mean anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. We're not just sitting playing reggae all night. So there's that aspect of it. So I'm thinking, how my process generally is, to the best I can, I try and put myself in that venue with that crowd and think. That's the preparation, and then the records then kind of choose themselves.
Okay, cool.
And then I go through and I go yes, no, maybe, yes, no, maybe, yes, no, maybe.
Okay.
And then the no's go
quite
away.
articulate way of doing everything. Then quite organized. Quite organized.
That's my process. It's up to others to decide whether it gets me anywhere. But it got me out of the 16 contenders in the Clash of the Gladiators. I got bronze medals, so I'll take that.
Which was massive. That was a big deal, man. That was a big deal. Hence the reason why when everybody realised that you was on this one, they were like, okay,
that's
we'd
nice
love
for
to
you.
see you back here in Wolverhampton.
Well, that's nice for you.
That's great.
I'm happy for you for that. And also, let's not forget, I had a shot. The final came down to a one tune shoot off with Mikey EY.
Okay.
And obviously he prevailed, and good luck to him. But that's how close it got.
Well, you'll be meeting him again on the night on the 20th.
For the third time I've clashed.
For the third time.
Third time.
Yeah. Trilogy. So you're going for it this time.
To mention but one of all your competitors. Yeah. But no, I know Bloodline through Onyx. The other guys I don't know, but I look forward to meeting them, and obviously, absolute respect across the board.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for taking the time out, because you come all the way from London, not only to go to Onyx Bar, but you've kind of diverted out of Birmingham to come here to sit down and have the interview. I super appreciate that.
What you don't realise is how far Wolverhampton really is from Birmingham.
Yeah,
it's miles.
You think so?
It seemed that way.
It depends on which way. We're gonna have to have a conversation on which way you got in. Yeah. But yeah, again, thank you. Is there anything that you want to say to your new fans then? Because you have such a new set of fans who are coming out to Wolverhampton to come in and see you play.
This is what I would say, and I'm going to address the camera directly. This is what I would say. The one thing about West Mids people is that they're fair and they're not biased. And if they think that a tune is good, and if they think you can select, they'll let you know that.
100%.
So judge me on the night. If you think I can select, keep putting me through. If you don't.
People, what can we say? There it is. That is the man himself, Mr. Swing Easy, London. Saturday the 24th of May, 6 DJs, 5 rounds, £1,000 winner takes all. Make sure you're up inside the building. Mr. Swing, thank you once again. Remember, like, comment, share, subscribe. We're out. Peace.
MWS Media and Events Limited presents the Wolverhampton Revival Cup Clash 2025. 6 DJs, 5 rounds, £1,000 cash prize. Winner takes all. Your competitors: Exodus Movements from Wolverhampton. From Birmingham, Mikey EY, Bloodline Music, Country Bigs and Pool Blood. From Manchester, Hustler Ghetto Heart and Mr. Swing Easy from London. The date: Saturday the 24th of May 2025 at the Molyneux Stadium, Waterloo Road, Wolverhampton, WV1 4QR. The competition rounds and rules are as follows: 10-minute non-elimination, 1 for 1, anything goes, best of 10 and first to 6. There'll be no music after the year 1989 and no dub plates, no playbacks and no cursing. Clash starts at 10:30 p.m. sharp. Hosted by the Big Bad Captain and Country Judah. Sound system supplied by Bullet Movements. Advance $6 price at £20. Available online. Tickets are available from all the contenders on the bill. Hatman in Birmingham, Country Judah, or the general number 0739 098 262 753 for the Wolverhampton Revival Cup Clash 2025.